Yeah, it's business time, and let's now bring in Peter Wakaba, who's in our other studio. Peter, you know that car that we've just featured? We used to call it Opuk, where I come from. And I'm really waiting to just listen into that story because I remember my father had one. Okay, so what do you have in business?
Well, of course, that car was also made famous in the movie Hubby Goes Bananas, but that in just a few minutes. First off, the fact that, well, the Federation of Kenya Employers is up in arms in Nakuru and has faulted the government, well, for trying to do what they say is monkeying around with representation in the National Security Fund Board of Trustees. Well, allegedly, the government plans to kick out representatives from the government from the NSSF, with the minister being able to appoint up to 5 people from outside the government to the board. This, of course, has been alleged by Jacqueline Mugo, who is the CEO of the Federation of Kenya Employers, when she opened the Federation's Rift Valley regional offices.
There has been constant effort to remove social partners from the Board of Trustees of the NSSF, which is a clear indication that some quarters are usurping the powers of NSSF and thereby creating unnecessary confusion at the fund. This country is a signatory to the International Labour Organization conventions, which are domesticated in the Kenyan Constitution. It is therefore recognized world over that labor matters are managed in a tripartite manner. The social partners are involved, must be involved.
Well, moving on, well, the Kenya's earnings from fresh produce exports in 2017 jumped to 115.25 billion shillings. This is an 11% increase over the year 2016. Unveiling these statistics at a stakeholder breakfast event in Nairobi, Mr. Okesegere Ojipat, Chief Executive Officer at the Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya, said that the sector remained resilient amid political and economic uncertainties in 2017. The consortium now wants to shift focus to enhancing traceability of products in the local market.
We want to look at how do we do local testing for a product, because for what we take into the export market, there's a lot of testing at the point of entry. For what we take in, that's the export. What we take in the domestic market, including what we have just had in the morning for us who had the food, cannot be able to trace it. We don't know how it was contaminated. And the export market is well secure because the market has given us preconditions. You must test this, you must sample the food that you sell, export. There must be a sample every time you're exporting.
International markets, they have put so much or a very high standard, sometimes which is a little bit aesthetic, is not really there. Sometimes you find if you have maybe a product like French beans, if they are crooked, they don't accept that. Either just the bean is bent somehow, they don't accept that. But in real sense, the bean is okay, it can be consumed.
Well, now to Linda's Opuk. Now, they are as versatile as they are iconic. In their day, they made heads turn and still do so today. Now, made as an affordable car for the masses, decades later, the Volkswagen is still a head turner, as Tobias Chanji now explores in today's edition of Throwback Thursday. Take a look.
VW or Beetles or Tortoise are the famous names that Volkswagen Beetles were christened by their loyal following and fan base of old. They were called Tortoise because of their shape. They were also known as cars with slow speeds, just like a tortoise. There is a big difference between them and the latest cars. For example, the bonnet acts as a luggage carrier while the engine is placed in the boot.
Kuna wakati huo wa nyuma miaka 70 mpaka miaka 60 huko nyuma, hata iwapo sikuwepo hiyo miaka 60, lakini hii miaka ya 70 nilikuwa na fahamu zangu. Kwa hivyo gari Beetle, Volkswagen Beetle na Volkswagen Kombi zilikuwa gari za sifa sana, zilikuwa gari za nguvu sana enzi hizo za nyuma.
Those with these cars were attractive to ladies who followed them everywhere, while those who lacked cast the day.
Hata mpaka ukiwa na bibi anakushuku sana, huyu mtu huyu akitoka na gari hii lazima anaenda kufanya labda mambo ambayo si sawa sawa.
si wengi walikuwa wanaweza kuafford kununua gari kama hizo Beetle ama Volkswagen Kombi. Na kwa kweli mtaani ulikuwa mtu ambaye unaheshimika kijijini, na katika wanadada labda ulikuwa ukionekana kitu kama kile, basi walikuwa unafanya wewe mwenye kusema mimi tosha, kwa sababu utafatwa.
The vehicles were not for everybody, but a reserve of a few respected individuals like Benson Machango.
Kusema ule ukweli, magari haya nilikuwa nayaona sana sana na wadosi hawa kama kina education officers, some doctors, na hawa nurses wazungu.
Machango bought this car almost 10 years ago at the pricely sum of 150,000 shillings.
Mafuta hii huwa naingiza kama 1,500 kwa inanifikisha Voi.
And after testing its comfort, he decided that he never part ways with the car, which some now consider old-fashioned.
Kuna wakati kama miaka miwili mitatu iliyopita, kuna mtu alini-approach, Mjerumani mwingine, alikuwa anataka nimpatie anipe 1.5, lakini nikamwambia hapana. Wakati huu bado hii gari sijamaliza utamu wake.
But for those who want to own one, the first move then is to identify a good, reliable mechanic and also identify where to get spare parts.
Nikitaka hata spare parts sahihi, napigia kuna jamaa mwingine anaitwa Daudi huko Nairobi. Namtumia pesa na M-Pesa. Within the same day, mimi napata spare yangu, makanika wangu wananiingizia na gari inaenda mbele.
Je, ni fundi tu yeyote ambaye anaweza tengeneza?
Hizi gari ziko very complicated. Mafundi wetu wa sasa hawaziwezi. Kama tuseme hapa Ukunda, fundi ni mmoja ambaye namjua.
While some keep the car for its thrill, diehards, especially the youth, say that driving one makes them feel like pilots.
Wakati nilienda hapa juu nikaachia car wash. Mwambia sasa nioshe gari, nafika Mombasa, alafu nitakuja kuchukua. Niliporudi, huyo jamaa aliniambia gari yako bwana imetushinda kabisa. Tumejaribu kutafuta rivers, hata nikaita 5 drivers, kila mmoja anakuja anang'ang'ana anashindwa.
In the advent of automatic cars, people of the yesteryears still value the old school cars like such as of high value. Tobias Chanji, Ktn News, Throwback Business.
Throwback indeed. A look there at Opuk. Well, that's it for Ktn Business Ktn Prime Business, rather. And before we go, just to leave you with a look at what we will be featuring tomorrow in this week's episode of Trading Bell, which hits your screens at about 3:30 p.m. Take a look.
Loan impairment is a big deal for any bank. What will change as you realign the bank and trying to see how you can boost profitability in the long run?
Well, of course, the loan impairment issue is something that we have dealt with. I think we have been very forthright and very forthcoming in terms of recognizing impairments when they arise. So from that perspective, I think we've got a very clean, sort of strong balance sheet, because we've really realized what the problem loans are and we've dealt with them very decisively.